Okay, good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, dear learners. Well, I am recording this video in advance because tonight uh, I have a surgery. Well, it's a very complicated issue, so I think I will not be able to talk to you tonight because I must go or I need to go to the dentist tonight at 6 and we have the class at 7 p.m. So probably I'm gonna be like unable to work with you tonight. That is why I am recording this video in advance to explain you the two topics for tonight's session. Okay? Well, uh, first of all, I apologize. First of all, I want to apologize for this situation. And well, I tried to change the schedule with my dentist, but it was not possible. I called, I went to the hospital this morning and yesterday, and I couldn't change the appointment. So, well, I want to share the first thing I want to share with you is the learning guide, okay, for tonight's session. I want to explain a little bit about the two topics we are going to face tonight. Well, the two topics are the questionnaire GA4 24022501 and the mind. Okay? Well, I am going to start explaining you a little bit about the questionnaire. Well, the questionnaire is one questionnaire CA4. It belongs to English level 6. So it's a little bit complicated. It's a little bit complex. That is why I want to explain you some grammar issues about this questionnaire. Nevertheless, I suggest you to have a look, to go deeply into these grammar issues because it's not easy. Okay? Well, another thing is please double check the recording because I will send you this recording, the video, and I will send you written material, important, essential to material for the success of the two evidences, for the success of the questionnaire and for the success of the mind map, that is, which is the second evidence. Mind map as well from GA4 24022501 AA1E2. Mine. This is so easy. The questionnaire is a little bit complicated. Nevertheless, I'll try to explain you the grammar issues well, briefly. Okay, in order to help you to, to take these questionnaires successfully. Well, okay, so let me start with um, with a grammar issue you are going to face during the question. Well, uh, the first, uh, the first screen I want to share. Let me see. Let me erase this. I try to share again because I was sharing the wrong. Well, a different screen. Well, this is the screen. Well, in this question, we are going to place modals. Modals in English. Well, what is a modal? A modal verb is an English grammar. Um, excuse me. Modal verb in English grammar are can, could, may, might, must, need, to, shall, will, you know, and they express things like ability, permission, possibility, and obligation. Modals also are have only one form. They do not take s in the simple present or so. This is a document. I will share it with you to let you, well, to have some kind of knowledge about these modal verbs. The use of modal verbs. So we use modal verbs when we talk about ability, and we use can or could for that ability. For advice, should or ought to. For permission, can, could, may, or might. For obligation, must, need, or should. For possibility, may, might. For deduction, may, can't, must, will, shall. Well, for offers and for requests. Okay? Um, Let me share another screen with you about these models. Well, as I was saying, modal verbs show possibility, intent, ability, or necessity. Well, in these pages, you can find a lot of examples about these modal verbs and about and how can you use these modal verbs with examples, okay, in your daily life use. Well, the most frequently modal verbs, well, can, may, might, could, should, would, will, or must. Okay? Well, so this is, as I told you at the beginning, this is a very brief explanation of these models. So I just wanted you to know this before you take the questionnaire because the questionnaire has some of these modal verbs. Okay, so please be careful with these. Study a little bit in advance before taking the quiz. Another grammar issue they take into account, or the questioner is going to use is, wait a second, these some idiomatic expressions such as neither do I, so do I. Okay? So let me share the screen with you as well. Well, they explain us the use of neither do I in this document. So the idiomatic expression neither do I has a very specific usage in the English language. Let's break it down and delve deeper into its meaning and variations. Okay? Neither do I is the most common form. A few variations and related expressions convey a similar meaning. Um, this neither do I is expresses agreement with a negative statement. Okay? In essence, when a person uses this idiom, they are implying that they share the same stance or view as someone else. who has just made a negative assertion. So in this document as well, you can find a lot of examples, a lot of definitions, and you know, different ways to help yourself with the test, with the question. Also, well, I will send you the questionnaire as well because I already answered the questionnaire this morning. So in advance, so I can help you a little bit. So please, that is why I tell you, I beg you, please have a look to the recording session, please. In this recording session, you are going to find a lot of help. Okay? Okay, guys. Well, now let's stop this part of the session. Now we can go to the second part of the session, which is the mind map. Okay? Let me share with you the learning guide again, please. Well, the mind map. So you can find videos on how to design a mind map using MS Word, okay, in your computer. That's very easy, very easy. In this document, I share a video with 5 different mind maps, 5 different ideas about mind maps, okay? So you will have a lot of guidance to do this mind map. It's very easy. You can do it using Word in your computer. So the mind map is about your personal learning environment. What is that? Your personal learning environment is how did you or how have you studied English throughout your academic life? What kinds of methods, what kinds of strategies, what kind of activities, what kinds of learning methods, learning ways, teachers. Well, how can you study or learn English so far? The, everything you have done to learn English, okay? So it's just you you are required to share like the environment as how you organize the environment where you learn English. What kind of helps? What kind of help? What kind of strategies you use to learn English? For instance, you can use videos, you can use the television, you can use songs, you can use podcasts, you can use, well, readings. Well, there are many strategies on the web, okay, on the internet that help us to improve our English, that help us to learn English. So that is your personal learning environment about, okay, your mind map about. So your mind map must show some ways to, um, like, it must picture the scenario where you have learned English so far, okay? Well, now I have two videos to share with you. I would like to start sharing the video about the mind map. Okay, so I want to share this one first because it was the last one I explained you. So no worries. I want to share this very easy video about how to um, how to design your mind map. Okay, it's using MS Word.
how to create 5 different mind map designs in Microsoft Word. These mind maps are created in Microsoft Word. In this tutorial, you will learn how to use shapes, curved connectors, branch-like shapes, curved text, etc. in mind maps. Creating a simple mind map with rectangles. First, let us make some settings which are in common for all 5 mind map designs that I am going to show you. Go to Layout, Orientation and click on Landscape. Then go to Insert, Shapes and click on Drawing Canvas. Then resize the drawing canvas. Set the outline for the drawing canvas. Keeping the drawing canvas.
Con solo 2.300 pesos al día, entregarás 16 sobres de alimento terapéutico cada mes en los departamentos con mayores índices de mortalidad de niños y niñas menores de 5 años asociados a la desnutrición. Con tu ayuda reduciremos la desnutrición infantil en Colombia, gracias a este alimento terapéutico lleno de vitaminas y nutrientes. Toma acción contra la desnutrición ahora. Dona ya a UNICEF.
Still selected, draw a rounded rectangle and adjust the corner roundness as shown. Then set a color of your choice. Now right click and click on Add Text. Then type some dummy text. Then increase the font size. Right click on the rectangle and click on Format Shape. Then go to Text Box Options and set 0 for all the margins. Now duplicate the shape by pressing Ctrl plus D keys on your keyboard. Then move the shape a little down. Now press Ctrl plus D multiple times to create duplicates of the rectangle. Now hold down the Shift key on the keyboard and click on all the rectangles to select them all. Then go to Align and click on Align Left. Then again go to Align and click on Distribute Vertically. Now select different colors for each of the rectangles as per your choice. Now resize the rectangles as shown. Now select all the rectangles and group them together. Now copy the group and flip it horizontally. Now ungroup the shapes. Now draw a small circle as shown. Then link the circle and rectangle with double arrow connector. Doing so, the shapes and the connector lines stay intact and adjustable. This is the biggest advantage of using drawing canvas. Now link all the rectangles with connectors as shown.
I'm so sorry. Well, I already shared 5 minutes from the video about mind maps. Okay. In the video, they explain us just one way to design mind maps. So we will have 4 ways more. Okay. So please have a look to the video to the other 4 options. Now I want to share the video about modal verbs. What are modal verbs and how to use those modal verbs. Let me share the video.
First lesson, sign up for your free lifetime account at EnglishClass101.com.
Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about the differences between would, could, and should. I'm going to give a very quick introduction to several different ways that we use these words and share a few example sentences so that you can get an idea of the kinds of patterns that we use when we're using these words. So let's begin with the word would. Okay. In blue, I've marked a couple of kind of key points for review of ways that we can use the word would. These are kind of made with some key grammar points in mind. Let's begin with the first point here. We use would to talk about unreal situations in the present. That means situations that are not real, things that are not true, but we want to talk about them. So these are very common if patterns. So for example, if I were, I would. If he were, he would. So you can see both of these start with an if statement. So that means that these are not real situations. We're just talking about the possibility of something. And then we're describing an action. In this case, it's a positive action with the word would. So for example, if I were a doctor, I would work in a hospital, for example. In that example sentence, I'm not a doctor, but I'm explaining if I were a doctor, I would work in a hospital. So I don't use the verb will because it's not an actual situation and I don't expect it's going to happen. I'm just talking about an unreal situation. Another point here is your pronunciation. When you use the word would, we'll contract it along with whatever you're talking about. So for example, I would becomes I'd, he would becomes he'd. And we'll see some more examples of this kind of pronunciation a little bit later. But when you're pronouncing if I were, I would is correct. But to make it sound a little bit more natural, use if I were, I'd. It sounds a lot better. So this is the first point, talking about unreal situations in the present. Of course, you can use a negative here. If I were a doctor, I wouldn't drink alcohol, for example. So we can use the positive would and the negative wouldn't in these patterns. Then similarly, the second point I want to introduce today is using would to talk about unreal situations in the past. So this is about the present. We just reviewed how to use would in the present, but if you're using would, you can also use it to talk about unreal situations in the past. So things in the past that were not true. In these cases, we'll use a past tense verb in the if clause here. So for example, if I had blah, 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 in this case, I'm using this to explain like an action that I did not do, but if, just in case, in the situation that the action did happen. So I'm using this this pattern if I had, and then a verb would come after that. So for example, if I
Did Harvard University just find a way to restore crystal clear 20/20 vision without glasses, contacts, or surgery? The best part? This incredible new technology doesn't just improve the clarity of your
I had woken up earlier, I would have been on time for school, for example. So these are past tense unreal situations, or past unreal situations rather. So here we see would again, but when we're using would to talk about unreal situations in the past, we need to use
Well, guys, this video, well, as I told you at the beginning of the presentation, is about a very difficult topic, grammar topic. Okay, so I have well tried to explain it as briefly, but I think and I know that it's not enough. Bueno, muchachos, como les dije al comienzo, este tema del cuestionario de la guía 4 es el más difícil que tienen ustedes aquí. Yo les explico aquí en el video de una manera muy sucinta, de una manera muy breve, los puntos más importantes del video. Sin embargo, ustedes, si acceden a la grabación, a esta grabación que les voy a subir mañana en la mañana, o esta misma tarde, si alcanza a cargar el video en YouTube, porque yo los tengo que subir a YouTube, a mi canal, desde ahí yo se los puedo compartir a ustedes y ahí va un regalito, ¿listo? Va un regalito en la grabación de la sesión online. Cuando yo ya la suba a la plataforma, les voy a subir un regalo. Que solo lo averiguarán ustedes cuando ingresen a la sesión. ¿Listo? Okay, guys, thank you. Thanks for attending. Thanks for attending the session. Gracias por asistir a la sesión. Y estos temas de los modales, de los idiomatic expressions as well, las expresiones idiomáticas, también todo eso lo encuentran en internet, todo lo encuentran en YouTube, en español también, pero por favor, es bueno que estudien cositas en inglés porque estamos estudiando inglés y si no le metemos la mano al inglés, pues nunca vamos a aprender. Listo, por favor. Se lo ruego, es para el bien de todos. Bueno, okay, thank you and have a good rest of the day. Bye bye.